any deal must secure the extension of the ACA tax credits.
This is about my party saying enough is enough.
Democrats will not back down.
Do not stop fighting.
We're in this fight until we win this fight because we know we're on the right side of this fight.
It's literally life or death. So Democrats have 3 words for this. No way.
Well, funny story. Yes, Charles Schumer's 3 words were no match for these 5 other words.
Democrats cave on the shutdown.
Excuse me? Cave on the shutdown? Huh? Not this forceful, young, authentic Democratic Party that hangs out down by the river and curses in what appears to be a cerulean blue blazer.
All right. I don't know about you, but I am pissed off. I'm pissed off at Democratic leadership. I'm pissed off at Chuck Schumer for doing the most irresponsible thing he could have possibly done in this fight. We had the wind at our backs, a massive victory, the momentum, the country behind us. And what does Schumer do? He folds. He gives up the one piece of leverage we had left. And for what? A short-term deal that hands Trump exactly what he wanted. Chuck Schumer still thinks he's living in a different political era, fighting old battles with old weapons that don't work anymore. He's out there pretending everything's fine while the House is burning behind him. And that's exactly why so many Democrats are calling for him to step down. People are furious, and rightfully so.
Democrats have been fighting to get the Senate to address the health care crisis. This bill does nothing to ensure that that crisis is addressed. I am voting no, and I will keep fighting.
One of the most progressive groups in the country came out demanding Schumer's resignation. And instead of showing strength, Chuck released this self-congratulatory video where he said he voted no on the bill, as if that somehow excuses everything. He says the bill doesn't fix the healthcare crisis, that he'll keep fighting. But hold up, you're the leader of the Democratic caucus. You're the guy in charge. If you wanted a real fight, you could have led one. If Nancy Pelosi were in this position, she'd have kept her members in line and fought tooth and nail for the win. But Schumer didn't. He orchestrated a controlled collapse, letting 8 Democrats take the fall, 8 senators, most of whom aren't even up for re-election anytime soon, and pretended his hands were tied. It's pathetic. And just watch what Trump even said about him.
He thought he could break the Republicans, and the Republicans broke him. But he did think that we have good policy, they have bad policy. And there's something, I don't know if it's Trump derangement or are they just crazed. They're like crazed lunatics. But, we have just great policy. We have good people. They have some good people, too. I know a lot of Democrats. They're not all crazy. They're not all. But you have some that are absolutely terrible. I look at this Crockett. This is a very low IQ person. And I look at somebody that comes from Somalia where they don't have anything. They don't have police. They don't have military. They don't have anything. All they have is crime. And she comes in and tells us how to run our country. The Constitution says this, the Constitution. The whole thing is crazy. I feel badly because I've known Chuck Schumer. I knew him when he was a person who loved Israel, and now he's a Palestinian. He's become a Palestinian. And it's amazing. I've never seen a politician change so much. Also, he doesn't have, he was a pretty talented guy. He's lost his talent.
Even Senator Mark Kelly wouldn't publicly back Schumer when asked if he supports him as party leader. He dodged the question like his life depended on it, because deep down, they all know this leadership has failed.
Do you support Chuck Schumer to lead Senate Democrats going forward?
So, Chris, again, we found ourselves in a situation I don't think the Senate has found itself in before. I think under any president, Democrat or Republican, they're going to care about the American people's health care and care if they're going to be able to put food on the table and try to bring down costs, not do the opposite for the American people. So when I hear folks say things like that, I understand their frustration. But I also hope they understand that we all need to be on the same team here. And what matters at this point is restoring these tax credits if we can do it in December. And we're going to work really, really hard, and we're going to focus on getting the Republican votes necessary to do that. But beyond that, It's winning the election in 2026. This president controls the House and the Senate. He controls those votes. He's got, all the levers of power here with our government. So we have to win this election in 2026. And if we do, we can hold him accountable, and we can take some steps to try to improve the situation that millions of Americans now find themselves in, not being able to afford rent or mortgage payment or groceries or health care.
I will note, Senator, that given two opportunities, you did not voice your unequivocal support for Chuck Schumer, but his job, at least for the moment, is not over. If this compromise plan does lead to the government...
I will say, Chuck Schumer and the leadership of the Senate are dealing with an incredibly complex situation where, it's hard to find a way out. But I am going to continue to fight for my constituents and the American people to just make life affordable for them.
Well, that's exactly what they're calling on the Democrats to do. But
then you've got Khanna stepping up and saying what everyone else is too afraid to say. Schumer needs to step down. He said it flat out. If the Democratic Party wants to survive, it has to choose between serving the billionaires and serving the people. You can't do both. And he's right. For years, we've watched Democrats tiptoe around donors, chasing approval from the same corporations funding the chaos. It's time to stop being polite and start being effective.
If Chuck Schumer called you today, or he dropped by your office, or you went by his office, what would you say to him?
I'd say, look, Senator, it's not personal. I respect some of the things you've accomplished in your career. I get that we would not have had the Chips and Science Act if it weren't for your leadership. I get that we would not have had the Inflation Reduction Act, but for your leadership. I appreciated what you did with the bipartisan infrastructure bill. But you know what? You've just lost touch with where the base of the party is. You've lost touch on foreign policy, where you supported the war in Iraq and then a blank check to Netanyahu, and you refused to endorse Mamdani. And then this is the second time you've had the shutdown fight, and you've caved both times. And it's time for you to gracefully make way for a new generation.
Meanwhile, you've got senators like Jeanne Shaheen saying she hopes Republicans will hear them on extending health care coverage. Hopes? Are you kidding me? Hope isn't a strategy. It's weakness disguised as optimism. You don't hope for Republicans to do the right thing. You force their hand. You fight tooth and nail until they do. But instead, Democrats showed up with nothing but a handshake and a surrender flag.
And I introduced a bill to extend the premium tax credits. That's my legislation. I did that in the very beginning. Introduced the 2 extensions. That was my first legislation this year, and I intend to continue to fight for that. And hopefully the Republicans may hear us. But all those people who opposed this agreement, staying in a shutdown mode was not getting us anywhere. And they need to train their fire on the people who are responsible. That's President Donald Trump, it's Speaker Johnson, and it's the Republicans who have blocked every attempt to get health care. We need to be working together. That's what I intend to do.
Hold on, because you won't believe what Hakeem Jeffries just said. After more than 40 days of waiting, he finally slipped up and revealed exactly what we've been expecting all along.
Was it the shutdown worth it?
We have waged a battle on behalf of the American people. First of all, Donald Trump and Republicans are the ones who shut the government down. They have the House, the Senate, and the presidency. And the American people know it. And that's been the case for 7 consecutive weeks.
But, at the end of the day, you didn't get what you want. So was it worth waging this fight?
At the end of the day, the fight lives on.
We put this country through chaos, through a shutdown, through pain. And for what? Nothing. We got absolutely nothing in return. And the worst part? The base was ready to fight. The voters were behind us. People were energized, hopeful, willing to sacrifice for a real win. But the leadership blinked. Imagine if Martin Luther King Jr. had given up during the bus boycott because things got tough. He didn't. He organized. He mobilized. He fought. That's how you win change. But Schumer? He saw a challenge and chose comfort over courage.
The Obamacare is a disaster guy. The guy who spent the weekend posting about how Barack Obama is collecting millions of dollars in royalties from Obamacare, a fact that Trump picked up from an 8-year-old satire article. Democrats, you gave up the only leverage you had without getting commitments from Trump or Mike Johnson. I cannot f***ing believe it.
Democrats had the leverage. We had the public. We had the moral argument. But now, Trump knows all he has to do is apply pressure, and Democrats will fold. That's the message we just sent. And that's why I'm furious. Because the people were ready. The voters were ready. But the leadership wasn't. We need new voices. We need fighters. We need Democrats who aren't afraid to stand their ground when it matters most. Because right now, too many of them would rather lose politely than win decisively. So here's the truth. We need to primary Chuck Schumer. Replace him with someone who actually represents the people. Because Democrats don't need another press release or another hopeful speech. We need a fighter. Someone who will hold the line no matter what. We're running out of time, but not out of fight. And if you're as angry as I am, don't give up. Channel it. Organize. Run. Support those who will. Because this party doesn't need more speeches. It needs a spine. And that starts with us.